Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Look at Proteus. Proteus is one of those games, I've got a little bit of a history with it, not a lot. The reason I came to know this game a little bit before its Steam release last week is because that when I did that Indies like day 4, when I brought on all the friends of the channel like Zach Scott Games, Josh, Michael A.L. Fox, etc., Nick from Indie Impressions, aka Rockley Smile, submitted this game that I'd never heard of called Proteus, and he told me, oh, it's this ambient, like, exploration, it's, oh, coffee maker! Now's not the time! Trying to explain to the people about Proteus. Angry coffee maker. Anyway, yeah, he's like this ambient, relaxing, like meditative, audio-visual puzzle adventure. Not puzzle adventure, like island exploration adventure. And I was like, wow, that sounds totally not like my thing, but I'm glad there's people out there that like it. Well, Proteus is now available on Steam, so I figured it was my duty to check it out, and I was excited to check it out because, I mean, again, it got a recommendation from somebody whose opinion I really trust. Nick's really into that kind of weirder indie stuff, which I greatly respect because I kind of feel like a poser every time I talk to him about indie games. Anyway, we're gonna get started here. Game of Proteus, this is 10 bucks on Steam. It's roughly 40 minutes long. It's a little bit difficult to explain from a gameplay perspective how long it is, because it really depends how much you're into the game. I've played about 40 minutes myself, which is not a coincidence, I assure you. And we're going to talk a little bit about what is up with this game, and why this game is unique, and why it's getting a lot of attention, either for better or for worse. This is very much a game, you know, in the same kind of style as maybe something like 30 Flights of Loving, and that the fact that it's relatively expensive for the length of its quote-unquote gameplay is going to make a lot of people, you know, either angry, but there's going to be people out there as well that are like, wow, this game is awesome. So this is the world of Proteus. We are just playing here as a nameless character, and the game is incredibly minimalistic in its design. All we do is we spawn in the middle of this body of water here, and our task is to explore this really genuinely beautiful environment that we're going to come across. This is one of the best looking games I've ever seen in my entire life, and one of the games that has a very kind of fully realized vision in terms of its graphics. Like, everything looks kind of unique. Obviously, it's going to draw some comparisons to Minecraft, but I think those are off base, and that's mostly just due to the nature of it kind of being an island that you're exploring. And what you're seeing right now, this is representative of the gameplay of all of Proteus. To kind of explain what the hook is here, basically, we start every day at daybreak, essentially. Notice that the screen gets whiter the longer and longer we look at the sun. Also, this game has the coolest, like, preparation for a pause screen I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, if I hit escape, our eyes will start to close, and if they close all the way, that'll end the game for us, which I think is, like, a really awesome design choice for that kind of thing. It makes you feel like you're really a person. You're not just, like, a box moving through this environment. But basically, yeah, we start every day at daybreak. And every day represents a season, right? So we're going to start here, and this is going to be our spring season. We've got cherry blossoms, trees blooming beautifully, and our only task, and calling it a task is even a little bit of a misnomer, but our only aim is to explore this island here. So we can basically choose to do whatever we want. You can follow these paths, which can oftentimes lead to, you know, some explored parts of the island. Maybe you can find an abandoned house or a shack or something like that, or if you so chose, you could deviate from this path and try to make your way just through the environment and find things randomly, basically, without any kind of rhyme or reason. There's no combat, there's no puzzle solving. This is not like Jonathan Blow's The Witness or anything like that. There's just kind of moving through the environment with a certain sense of childlike wonderment, shall we say. And your ability to put yourself into that place or into that mindset is going to be essential if you're going to get the enjoyment or you know, relaxation, should I say, or the value out of this game that I think people are going to try to get. So, I should mention off the top here that if you're watching this video for kind of a recommendation as to whether or not you should play Proteus, it's going to be very difficult for you to get into the mindset of the game or the mood that the game wants to put you in simply by looking at or listening to me play. Because I'm going to be rambling over top of it, yada yada yada, gameplay mechanics, graphics, price versus value, etc., etc. When really, it's kind of the game that you have to experience yourself. You have to kind of shut up and enjoy it as you play, basically. But yeah, every time the day ends, which we'll see, days seem to be about 10 minutes long, which is why the game is about 40 minutes long total. Every time the day ends, we're gonna go on a short quest to find out where all this, like, stardust is gonna gather. The stardust is gonna teleport us to the next season. So in doing so, over the course of a game of Proteus, you are going to see all 4 seasons of the game, starting in spring and ending in winter. And the landscape changes drastically. The main draw for this game is going to be, like, if you're kind of into that meditative sort of style of game, I'm trying to think of another minimalistic game that really does this the same way. It almost reminds me a little bit of Dinner Date. That's probably a good example. Dinner Date was that game that came out a couple of years ago where basically it was just like a one-man monologue in his head of like all of his anxiety issues while his date passes him up. Or stands him up, I should say. It's a game that kind of defies comparison, so maybe I should stop trying to do that. But yeah, so in about 5 or 6 minutes here, we are going to watch this sunset, and then we are going to move on to the summer season. I'm not going to show off a whole day of Proteus, because to be quite frank with you, there is an ending at the end, like a real, genuine ending that I don't want to show off, because that's, you know, part of the draw of the game. That should stay as a valuable reason for people to continue playing the game if they do choose to buy it. In terms of my overall impression about the game, it's a little bit weird. I'm not into games like this, but it's kind of the game that is difficult to criticize because it's got such a niche vision that who am I gonna? I'm not gonna stand here and say should you buy it or should you not buy it, because you already know, I think, by watching this, whether or not this game is going to be up your alley, whether or not you feel comfortable paying $10 for a game like this. And, you know, a lot of people are not going to be comfortable paying $10 for a game like that, or a game like this, and that is totally fair. Kind of looks like we have a flag here that's setting. Our day is almost done in terms of exploration, by the way. This island, I should mention, is randomly generated, so there is replay value to Proteus, but it also kind of eschews those traditional kind of criteria for measuring the value of a game. Like, replay value doesn't really factor into this. Consider this to be basically $10 for what is likely going to be 40 minutes of gameplay. Some people are going to be into it, a lot of people are not going to be into it. If I wasn't doing a video of it, I probably wouldn't be that into it, but I can appreciate the value in it regardless. So in the meantime, as we watch the sun set here, why don't we just take like 10 seconds here for me to just shut up and you can get kind of a feel for the beautiful world of Proteus through the audio and video. I guess I should just say audio-visual melding here, so everyone just close your eyes and relax. Alright, so now that I have your attention, probably I apologize for that, but it had to be done, even if it did take away from the kind of mood of the game a little bit. The real star of Proteus, and it sucks that the kind of content I create is incompatible with this, but the real star is the audio design, which does change dynamically based on what you come across. Like, there will be times, and you'll see this in the summer season, which we'll play a little bit of, probably not a whole lot, but a little bit of. There's times when you'll like be walking in the forest and you'll come across like a frog or something, and every time you get close to the frog, it'll jump, and the jump will create a tone, and that tone will fit into the music that you're listening to. So in a way, you're kind of like dynamically creating your own soundscapes as you move throughout the game. But I mean, look at this art. This art is fantastic. If this is what they're going for, I'd say they did a very good job creating the art in the game. And I mean, it's obviously a very basal way to explain things. We're going to move towards those stars over there in the distance, because I believe that is what's going to be our driving force to teleport us to the next season. There is a shack there. We won't be able to go into that, but it does give the sense that the world is kind of lived in, you know, which is unique. It's a game I'm just on the cusp of getting into it. I feel bad comparing this to Minecraft, because obviously that creates a shitstorm in the comments every single time. This game's trying to rip off Minecraft, but the closest feeling that I get in a different game that evokes the same feeling that I get in Proteus is in Minecraft. You know, when you explore that island on the first day and you're like, oh wow, where am I gonna like stake my claim? Where am I gonna make my life in this world? The difference is that there's no kind of other gameplay here. It just like captures that true exploration element, which is cool. At the same time, it doesn't necessarily provide a whole lot of value beyond that, but a lot of people might be okay with that. So we can see that these stars are kind of gathering in one specific area. So we're going to make our way over there, and then we will move on to the summer, and I'll probably show off a little bit of the summer, and then I'll stop doing the video, because really I don't have the mental capacity to, these will start spinning faster, and then we'll transport to the next season. I don't have the mental capacity to continue making, you know, a ton of commentary for 40 minutes, basically. Oh, we're traveling through here. Yeah, for 40 minutes of basically what is the same thing here. And we're going to be transported to summer as soon as this fade to white ends. So we should come across more animals here. And the music changes every single time. I can't stress enough that the music in this game is absolutely fantastic. And if you let yourself, it's fairly easy to fall into the sort of mindset or mood that I think Proteus tries to encourage, which is cool. So let's just tool around here. As you can see, the environment has changed a little bit. We find these weird sort of statues. which again are drastically affecting the soundscape that we're dealing with here. Let's see if we can find a frog or some flies or something, so I can kind of give you a feel for what's going on as seasons change, because there is different character to each season, which I think is important. This bird is a big factor that we see coming up a lot in this game. Is this a bird? Oh, this isn't a bird. It's Gomez from Fez. Where'd he go? In a way, that's kind of like you make your own fun when you're playing Proteus, right? You choose your own goals. Like, you see this guy hopping around, and you're like, you know what? For the rest of this season, I'm just gonna chase these guys around and kind of have some fun with that. Or maybe you decide that's boring and I'm gonna break away and I'm gonna go hang out over by these like mosquitoes or whatever these are over here. Again, there's an abstract nature to the game as well, obviously. We got some flies. They might make us travel a lot faster. What does that mean? I don't know, but it's kind of cool that a game like this exists, if that makes any sense. I'm not doing either of shitting on or like touting this as a masterpiece in this video. All I'm saying is this is Proteus. It is what it is. A lot of people are not going to be into this game, and that's totally fine. You don't need a lot of people to be into this game. But it is an accomplishment. Absolutely. What do we have over here? Some kind of squirrel? Indeed we do. We can chase him up into that tree. Yeah, like I said, it's a very niche game, and that's sort of cool. It's not totally up my alley, but this is a beautiful shot to just end on here. If you let yourself, and you know, you're the kind of person who can get swept away in a game like this, that's totally cool. Pick it up on Steam or the developer's website for 10 bucks. For the more, you know, skeptical amongst you, you're probably not going to get your money's worth with this game, and it sucks that you have to take a game that's definitely trying for something artistic and boil it down to that, but unfortunately, or fortunately maybe, depending on your perspective, that's kind of that's the way this industry works, right? It's one of the reasons you're listening to me right now. So let me just say, oh god, I thought that was a bird or something. Or a dragon descending upon me to murder me. Let me just say, basically, this is Proteus. It is what it is. If you like what you saw and you want to actually get into that spirit for yourself, check it out on Steam or the developer's website. Otherwise, for the rest of you, you know, 10 or 15 minutes was probably all you needed to see as much of the Proteus world as you wanted to see, but in any case, very interesting game. Not sure if I would agree with Nick, whose channel I will put in the video description, and his Proteus video I'll put in the video description, actually, that it's the best indie game of last year, because it technically did come out on last year, but it's certainly one of the more unique indie games I've played in a long time, and I admire the developers' kind of adherence to this unique style, and again, main factor at work here is beautiful art and audio as well. It's a great audio-visual experience, but in any case, thank you guys for watching and listening to my rambling and my incredibly annoying, angry coffee maker. In any case, I will see you next time.